can we just acknowledge how good that transition was that I just did?
I mean, yeah. What about it did you like more than other transitions?
Where I was like, I'm glad we can talk more about the fighting style, and then immediately, like, without a stutter, I just went into it.
Yeah, but the views on this video are going to be on fire because of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then when people click on it and see that I'm just patting myself on the back, they'll click off. They're like, oh, this guy's into himself.
Yeah, all right, I'm getting out of here. I've been recommended this movie by several people I know personally and a lot of commenters. I think especially after we did the Kung Fu Hustle reaction.
Yeah.
This movie was recommended to us.
People have been wanting to watch us to watch a lot more Kung Fu movies and stuff like that. Yeah, Stephen Chow is a big introduction for us on this channel.
100%. I'll never forget watching Kung Fu Hustle for this channel.
I mean, it's our most popular video, but aside from that, it was a very moving experience just because we've never seen something like that.
Yeah, 100%.
And obviously that was very heightened and in a great way cartoonish at some points. This is a very like grounded story, but still has action like I've never seen it before.
Yeah. I'm still pretty green on my Kung Fu movies. You know?
Same. I think I've seen a bit more than you, but I still like. That's why this channel is great. I'm happy to be introduced to them through this.
100. Yeah, exactly. I grew up primarily probably on like Jackie Chan movies, but like American Jackie Chan movies to be clear, like Rush Hour. I saw that movie, The Tuxedo.
Yeah.
With Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Jackie Chan, like American Jackie Chan movies were like a big part of my childhood too.
Sure.
He just seemed like the coolest guy. Rush Hour, obviously, probably for us, but then. When it comes to Jackie Chan, like Chinese movies, I've seen the first two Police Stories.
Okay, yeah, that's one I still want to see. I still really want to see Police Story.
Should I show them my Bruce Lee like box set that I have?
It. Yeah,
this would be
a
great moment too. All right, we're back. I have it right here. It's my Bruce Lee Criterion Collection box set, and I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but basically, it has his biggest hits. And I don't know, like I don't want to open it up like right here, but you can see. And so from here, when it comes to the Bruce Lee movies, I've been going in order, but I've only seen The Big Boss and Fist of Fury. So I haven't seen the big ones like Enter the Dragon, The Way of the Dragon. Enter the Dragon I know is like the huge one.
Yeah, I've heard of that one a lot.
Which maybe if we get requests for it, we might do it. But
someday, yeah.
But yeah, so that's like I know that much about Bruce Lee. Jackie Chan, I've seen Police Story 1 and 2. But like you, I'm very green to this. We've seen Kung Fu Panda, which might be sacrilegious to mention that amongst these great movies, but like still. But yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that stood out to me, if I can mention, is like how this movie portrays pain.
Yeah.
Like, I kept saying it through our reaction for a reason, but like every time someone got hit, I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, dude, I felt every punch. It was mostly credited towards, in my opinion, the sound design and the facial expressions of the actors, too.
And I think the editing.
The editing, absolutely.
The way it will cut to a body part or the close-up. Like, it can't be understated.
Yeah, the filmmaking focused on the pain almost, it felt like.
Yeah, it showed how this can be a dangerous sport.
Yeah.
And, you know, I stress that because usually in, like, fighting movies or action movies, sometimes the audience can go numb from the violence, where they just feel like, oh, they're just punching more and more. I never felt that through the entire time. Each fight felt, like, important.
Yeah.
Each fight felt there was, like, a reason for it.
There were emotional stakes with it, too. There was the aspect of power and humiliation, too. And, you know, obviously there were stakes attached to it. People trying to, you know, fight for food, too.
I think my favorite, like, action sequence is when he goes to that, like, prison-type area, like the arena where the general's watching. It's very ominous lighting.
Yeah.
To figure out what happened to Lin. And he realizes he's been beaten to death, and he goes in there's like, I want to fight 10 people.
Oh, yeah, that's my favorite, too.
I think it's because, like, there's a lot of emotion attached to it.
Yeah, it's like, obviously it's the most badass because he literally fights 10 people surrounding him, and it ends in probably about 45 seconds or something. Like, he beats them up so quick.
But unlike the other fights we had seen up to this point, you could see that there was actual rage.
Yeah, there was emotion put into it.
I was saying, like, the beginning of the movie, that first fight when he just wants to go get a private practice, how, like, you and I kept emotions, like, look how like emotionless he is. Like, he's barely thinking about it. And this time, like, when he was punching, you could see his anger. Like, and you saw that close-up of his fists that were bloody knuckles.
Oh, yeah, and his finishing moves were, like, brutal, too. The way he broke that dude's leg and it was like even that dude who was super scared, he still headlocked him and punched his face in.
It's true. It's like the truest version of like storytelling through action,
Yeah.
like showing character through action, and like because through that action sequence you can sense like, okay, this guy has gone through years of starvation, and years of struggle, seeing his people die around him, losing his friends in front of his eyes.
In front of his eyes for stupid reasons, like just for being exploited by their oppressors.
Yeah, and
know?
their oppressors they just want to see them fight. That's
Yeah.
it. It's like gladiator matches or whatever.
Yeah, and I think it's a great contradiction too. Like if we're sticking with the 10 people fight scene, is in the opening when that guy was challenging him, how he checked on him if he was okay. He wasn't really trying to fight. He was sort of just testing
Yeah.
it out. And he didn't, you know what I mean? He was like pretty peaceful about it. Even if he was outdoing all of his moves, he was still saying, like, as it was used for humor, but he says, like, "Are you all right?" after the fight.
He never once fought for ego purposes.
Yeah.
He always fought for like protecting his town's honor. But even that, I remember he was just like, when they were like, "You gotta kick his ass, you gotta protect our honor," he still didn't want to.
He was trying to stay low key the whole time. He just wanted to live a peaceful life with his family.
Yeah.
He just happened to be incredible at martial arts.
And he didn't really feel like, it's interesting that like he never really wanted to be a teacher, but then his business partner was just like, in times of prosperity it makes sense that you didn't really feel like teaching, but in bad times you have a responsibility.
Yeah.
Like like I said in the reaction, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, that carries through. It feels like the other characters as well in its own way. Like, you know, obviously the I forget his name, forgive me, but the translator guy,
The
who was
cop
like,
is what I've been calling
the cop,
him.
yeah. Like there is that level of like when you're in positions of authority or positions of power, you know. That's why he didn't want to teach the Japanese people kung fu, because they abuse their power.
Yeah.
You know, you
And-
have a responsibility when you're in power.
And also, apathy is like the true sin. Kind of like if you don't care about protecting your people, if you don't care about taking a stand.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of the worst thing you could do. And, you know, I feel like Donnie Yen carries a lot of his movies just through this movie through his eyes.
Yeah, and that smile too. When it comes in handy for the scene.
100%. Yeah, that's true, like, action movie star shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's, like, what he can do really well.
Yeah, and I think, like, from what I've heard, I've never taken any martial arts lessons. I'm pretty sure you haven't, unless you have a surprise for me.
It'd be so funny. It'd be so funny if I just pulled that out of my ass right now.
But I've never done any type of training at some point. You know, at some point, I think a bucket list, I do want to take boxing lessons at some point in my life when I'm more financially stable and, you know, want to get my shit together a little more. But with that being said, I've heard this a lot, though, is that people who are really well trained, whether, you know, black belts, etc., you have never been in actual fights. They've never had to use it because they're confident enough to de-escalate a situation.
Well,
you know?
Yeah, that's something that's very interesting, because like I was saying throughout the reaction, I was saying like the way they were defending themselves, the way they were dodging hits looked so interesting to me.
Yeah, you can tell, like, philosophically they understood the point of kung fu. It's not to go looking for trouble. Like those people, they set it up in the beginning, those people who came in challenging Donnie Yen, you know, just like, "Oh, I'm looking for the best." You know?
Yeah.
It's like, it's really about peace within yourself and, you know, discipline. And like you said, protecting people around you and defending yourself.
Well, in the beginning, like when he like a boss just takes out that revolver piece with the bullets with his hand, right? He says like we who practice like martial arts, like we're not that doesn't mean we're not peaceful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We that like basically saying that we have discipline. Like it's not about being an aggressive like aggro person, or basically. You know, like the way the Raiders were. I'm calling them the Raiders, but yeah.
Yeah. It's about not looking for trouble.
100%. It was, if I had like one complaint, is that I wish, and I know this is based on historical, like this is a historical piece, and I get that, but for movie purposes, I kind of wish he struggled a little bit in that final fight, a bit more.
Oh, sure.
Like, I wish it was a little bit more, like, harder for him, because it was being built up, right? At least for me. Like, the general was this, like, oh my god, that guy's insane. And it would have been nice to see, like, oh, this is a completely different fighting style that maybe Ip Man isn't as used to.
Yeah.
So it would have been a little bit more difficult, but it still felt like basically every other fight except he fell a few more times.
Yeah, in relative terms, it was his biggest struggle out of all the fights. Like he technically did get a couple punches in, which even if he got punched like 3 times, it's 3 more punches than the rest of the fights he's been in.
And I might be very wrong. Maybe it is just showing like, yeah, this guy got hit, but he's still the master,
Yeah, I think it was more of like a philosophical conflict, I think it was like knowing that even if like after I win, I'm going to die.
And
like,
I think the main emotion behind it was the way the cop finally took a stand and pushed the guy who was going to shoot him to the side, and the way the people revolted.
Yeah.
That was like, I guess, yeah, you're right. That was like the main focus there.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think protagonists that are extremely powerful are hard to pull off naturally.
100%.
And I think what worked with this one is, like I said, his conflict is mostly philosophical of like, he didn't want to put himself in danger, want to go looking for fights. Even though he probably should have to protect people, but that was his thing. He didn't want to fight, even if he could kick all of their asses.
Yeah.
The whole time he's just like trying to be peaceful, trying to scrape a living for his family.
It's using the philosophy of like Chinese kung fu to build his character. Yeah, man, I'm super curious if it's like the same director through the sequels and if it's like a similar cast.
Yeah,
I'm not
going to look it up.
Sure, yeah,
Look it up.
because like the first one, I don't know anything about the sequel. It's crazy that there's 4 movies because I feel like these movies just pass me by. I would look up Ip Man film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad I didn't know anything about it.
So the first one's directed by... Yeah, okay, same director for the first 2.
Okay.
Let me check the third one. Yeah, same director for the third one. Master Z, Ip Man Legacy? I don't know what that is. Different director for that. I don't know if that's a spinoff or...
Yeah.
Ip Man 4. Yeah, same director for all 4 of the main movies.
Okay, Ip Man 4, what year did that come out?
2019.
Okay.
Not that long ago at all.
Well,
okay.
what year did this one come out?
2008.
Okay.
Second one 2010, then third one 2015.
Right. Okay, wow, 2019. You know what's funny? I do remember Ip Man just coming out and being in theaters during 2019.
Oh, okay.
I remember that in like when I was looking for movies to watch in Fandango or whatever, but I just didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, which is crazy. How much? Just look up how much money did the finale make, Ip Man 4.
239 million.
So this is like a huge. This is a huge. This is a monster.
It's an international.
The fact that international too, but the fact that it's like in the 4th movie, it's still people are excited about it.
I know. Like I said, I've been recommended this movie by personal friends of mine a lot, and I think you and I openly being YouTube reactors for a living, naturally friends and family. Oh, you guys should react to this movie. You haven't seen that? Oh, you guys got to react to it,
If I do talk about movies with friends, they're constantly just being like, "You guys need to do this." Like,
yeah, it's never like we never get casual, and not to whine. Obviously, this is just funny to observe. This isn't even like us complaining, but it's more of like, no one casually recommends us movies to watch. Now it's always like, you got to make a video out of it.
Yeah, and I always thought, I'm like, listen, the comment section already got us covered. They recommend us like crazy, including this one. You said like we got a lot of comments on Kung Fu Hustle for this one.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah,
and Shaolin Soccer. And naturally, I think people enjoyed our, fighting movie reactions.
I mean, yeah, we are very expressive when it comes to reacting to action movies. Check out both our Blade reactions.
Yeah, I know. At some point, this is kind of a separate point, but I do want to watch the third one.
Blade 3?
Blade Trinity is what it's called.
Yeah.
Everyone says like it's not as good as 1 and 2, but there are people that straight up hate the third one too.
We should probably just complete the trilogy.
That's what I'm saying. Just to
have it.
We're all here together. We'll be in on the fan base too.
Yeah. Cool. I'm glad we finally did this. Hopefully we can do sequels if you guys like these videos, and just let us know in the comments.
Yeah, by all means. And then dump all your trivia too.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for our patrons for supporting us again and again. We really appreciate it. Also, while you're here, check out our podcast. This is a podcast channel. You can watch it on this channel, listen to us on Spotify, Nice Dude Movie Podcast. Thanks for watching. Stay nice, dudes.